Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's truly my pleasure on behalf of my entire team at the Melani, Walton Sustainability Solutions Service to open this discussion on building momentum for a successful interlinked set of UN conferences and events. Unfortunately, we live in a dark world. We live on a planet grossly mismanaged on some of the best days by kleptocrats, constrained by kakistocracies, and suffering from a long list of ecological, social, and governance crises, aided and abetted by transnational recidivistic criminal syndicates, many herein euphemistically and nonchalantly call or dare to call corporations. To be clear, sadly, little of these harsh observations are hyperbole. What most herein would recognize or describe as full democracy is far from the norm. The structure, that structure of full democracy governs only a super minority of the planet's population. While a few folks at Pew and elsewhere, Bloomberg, etc., are fond of reminding us that democracies among the world's governments have been on an uptrend since the mid-70s, and now sit just below the post-World War II high of slightly over 50%. The reality is the percentage of the world's population living under some sort of democracy tumbled in 2022 down to 45%, just under 46%, down from 49 and a fourth percent in 2021. Indeed, only 21 countries, a meager 12% of UN member states, covering just under 7% of the planet's population, are what the Economist Intelligence Unit refer to as full democracies. So indeed, kakistocracies, kleptocracies, autocracies are the super dominant norm on this planet. Over half the people of the planet live under what we would characterize as authoritarian regimes or a blend of authoritarianism and flawed democracies. Relatedly, last year, just for example, in the United States, the UN Office on Drugs and Crime, combined with data from the FBI, points to about 25,000 murders in just the US alone. The US Union, the AFL-CIO, the union network, reports in the same year, just last year, an estimated 120,000 workers died from occupational diseases, not from accidents on the job, but diseases from the workplace that their employers have known about year on year, going back not just decades, but approaching almost the better part of a century. That is the sine qua non of recidivistic corporate criminal activity. When you know about a problem, you know its social impact, you know its political large-scale impact, and you fail to rise to the occasion sufficiently. Indeed, we learned at the Paris negotiations, at the climate of the party negotiations, that nearly 2/3 of anthropogenic carbon emissions originate from just about 90 companies and state-run industries, most of them predominantly in the oil sector and oil services sector. Many of those, as we also know, have actively denied, lied about, or obfuscated their role in this planetary climate catastrophe that we're now experiencing day on day, month on month, quarter on quarter, making matters absolutely worse, but sticking course on the problem of widespread corporate criminal recidivism and criminal activity. We hear from folks in the U.S. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that corporate recidivism has become normalized and calculated as a cost of doing business. Nothing could be more, I would say, barbaric, but also keeping consistent with the form of governance that we see on the planet, again, defined by authoritarianism, kleptocracies, kakistocracies. We've seen it just in the last 48 hours in Brazil. We've seen it marking the anniversary just a couple of years ago in the US and country after country around the world. Alas, I could go on, but time demands otherwise. We need at least the following. We need functioning multilateralism. We need ambitious multilateralism. We need clearly coordinated multilateralism. We need a multilateralism that's rooted in technology, that's technology not just rooted, but technology reinforced and technology ready. And we need a strong multilateralism. I think those features, what I like to, if you've been following the words, functioning, ambitious, coordinated, technology rooted, and strong, those facts we can offer, the facts of multilateralism are what constitute the basis of an interlinked multilateralism that really, I think, we can begin to push for as we think about interlinking a series of meetings around the United Nations system. Why? At least three rationales come to the fore. First, multilateralism is a needed check, perhaps a good one, perhaps sometimes not sufficient, but still a check on elected kleptocrats and kakistocracies around the planet. Second, a coordinated and properly interlinked multilateralism may just stave off the international community's inability to adequately and robustly provide and protect, emphasis on provide and protect global public goods. I don't want to go into, because of time, the consistent, almost depending on your vantage, day on day, week on week, certainly month on month and Q on Q failures of delivering robust vaccines for the entire planet in just the past 800, 900-ish days. Indeed, that failure is largely because of the weak multilateral system, a multilateral system that isn't rooted sufficiently strong enough, that hasn't been coordinated. That's the failure of the provision of global public goods like vaccines. But also we see time and time again, for those of you like me who've been participating actively in the Conference of the Parties on both climate and biodiversity and other places, we see the failure to protect global public goods like climate change, like biodiversity, and many other critical ecological, I won't even call them resources, but ecological public goods. Lastly and thirdly, we need a coordinated and properly interlinked multilateralism, because that, I'll offer to you, is the flexible network that allows us to provide the world the new and needed and robust and strong and ambitious configurations that we need to not just deal with the problems that we're facing, whether it's the pandemic, whether it's climate crisis before our eyes, whether it's the biodiversity loss that we are currently at war with, the biodiversity war that we're playing out on this planet. But that interlinked system, that flexible network that arises out of it, whether it's interlinked through conferences that we're going to be talking about across today, this afternoon, and so forth, that system actually allows us to get out ahead of those problems and tackle them adequately. And from our vantage, by way of conclusion, at the Sustainability Solutions Service here at ASU, it's the secret sauce, as it were, to bring those solutions to the public in a robust way, in a way that's fast, in a way that's really fit for purpose and fit for scale. And that's really where I want to point your attention. How can we begin to assemble a multilateral system that is functioning, ambitious, clearly coordinated or interlinked, technology rooted, reinforced and ready, and strong? Let's have that conversation as we go forward. Thank you so much.